her team sent two assassins to kill the sun. What happened yesterday during the WNBA game between the Fever and the Chicago Sky of the feud between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? It's their second meeting.
Angel Reese says Caitlin Clark fans are crossing the line. Jason Whitlock says Reese is just pointing fingers. Who's right? Let's dive into this WNBA drama and see what's really going down. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. As you were about to lose your mind over how absurd this tale could go, Jason Whitlock intervenes with a biting critique. He doesn't even somewhat believe Reese's story. However, why? Whitlock notices something that others might be missing. Whitlock is making waves by refuting Angel Reese's charges directed against Caitlin Clark's supporters. He's posing the difficult queries that no one else appears to be. Does this really make Reese the victim, or is there more to the story? Let's dissect Whitlock's claim. He claims that Reese is criticizing Clark's supporters without providing any solid proof. She seems to be trying to link Caitlin Clark to every bad thing that occurs to her. Whitlock labels this as dishonest and stupid. Is he not being reserved?
And the battle between Renaria and Allison and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. What happened yesterday during the WNBA game between the Fever and the Chicago Sky?
This is when the intriguing part comes in. Whitlock portrays Clark's supporters as regular families. Hey, do these people really seem like the type to create inappropriate AI images? Is essentially what he's saying. Yes, that's a legitimate question. We're talking about basketball fans here, not tech-addled trolls after all. What exactly is going on then, if Clark's supporters aren't supporting this? Whitlock has an idea, and it sounds fairly crazy. He believes that Reese may be trying to use the whole thing to attract more attention. She seems to be using the victim card as a ploy to divert attention away from her own behavior and reputation. What could be even more absurd? Whitlock refutes the notion that criticism of Reese is inherently racist. He claims that some of Reese's supporters feel that criticism of her cannot be separated from racism. Whitlock, though, isn't buying it. He's suggesting that in this case, we should consider the wider picture. Let's now address the topic of the elephant in the room. Whitlock is implying that Reese might not even be this well known if it weren't for Clark. It's a bold statement, isn't it? However, consider it. The media has covered this two-player rivalry extensively. It's been the main source of recent buzz around women's basketball. Is Reese attempting to assign blame? Whitlock appears to agree. He contends that she is taking advantage of the circumstances to maintain her notoriety by igniting controversy. She seems to have discovered a means of maintaining her relevance by consistently associating herself with Clark, even when doing so is detrimental. But here's the thing, is Reese suffering as a result of this tactic? Is she giving Clark more power by bringing him up all the time and blaming her followers for it? It's as like she's inadvertently elevating Clark to the main character in her narrative rather than concentrating on her own performance. Whitlock's analysis of the matter is causing us to reevaluate our assumptions regarding this WNBA controversy. He is putting forth the challenge for us to see past the obvious charges and consider the wider picture. Is there a true problem with these AI photos, or is there another issue altogether? Do you recall Reese saying that she and Clark didn't dislike one another? This is going to get really interesting, I think. I promise you, it's a totally different ballgame when we go into Reese's social media game. The point is, Reese is aware that the media has been exaggerating their competition with Clark. She has even admitted it to herself, but then she makes a U-turn and accuses Clark's supporters of being the source of all the criticism? Folks, something is amiss in this situation.
Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. It's their second time meeting. Call this season 2. Her team sent two assassins to kill the sun.
Let's examine Reese's internet persona. It like a highlight reel of her life, but Whitlock speculates that there may be more to it than merely careless posts. He is emphasizing how much Reese puts herself out there. We are discussing images, videos, and everything in between. And now she's upset because she's being perceived in a particular manner by others. Hurry up. Whitlock isn't going to back down. He's saying she puts herself out there, and now I'm shocked that people have sexualized me. Reese seems to be playing both ends of the court in this situation. She flaunts her appearance and then becomes irate when others criticize it. What's wild, you know? In essence, Whitlock is stating that Reese's nude photos are all over the internet. Isn't that a daring statement? However, it provokes thought. Can Reese really be shocked when people notice her if she's putting herself out there in that way? This is the tough part. Whitlock poses the crucial query: are we sure they're Caitlin Clark fans? While Reese accuses Clark's followers of sexualizing her, he does not accept it. He believes that Reese may be trying to maintain her own prominence by exploiting the entire scenario. Consider it. The competition that Reese and Clark have has greatly benefited his career. It seems like we have to bring up the other every time we discuss the first. Whether they like it or not, they are connected. Whitlock also implies that Reese might not even be this well known if it weren't for Clark. Is Reese simply having fun here? Is she trying to stay in the news with this feud and these accusations? She seems to be caught between being Clark's victim and rival. She accuses Clark's admirers of being biased one moment and insists there isn't any hate. But here's the thing, is Reese suffering as a result of this tactic? Does she think that by bringing up Clark so much, even in a bad way, she's actually increasing his popularity? She seems to be talking about her all the time, which is keeping them both in the headlines. One must question whether Reese is aware of what she is doing. She has developed this online persona, this competition with Clark, and now she is whining about the attention she is receiving. It appears as though she is imprisoned in a game she created. Reese brings up racism just when you thought this could get much more intense. Whitlock, though, isn't buying it. He claims that she is doing it to deflect criticism. Is he right? Or is this a completely different situation? Whitlock is approaching this from a whole different perspective. He is taking Reese's accusations of racism head on. As you recall, he said,
and people are piggybacking this battle to make all their points about Black Lives Matter and feminism of the feud between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It's their second meeting. And so you have this great battle going on between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
I'm highly skeptical when people start throwing that card out there. Isn't that a brave move? He is not merely skeptical of Reese's account. He is speculating that she may be utilizing racism as a cover to deflect criticism for what she has done. That is a grave charge. It's as though he's saying, hey, you're not the cause of every bad thing that happens to you. Yeah, this is the tough part though. Whitlock is urging us to consider a more expansive idea. Is racism the true basis for all of Reese's criticism? Is a portion of it simply criticism? It's a challenging yet crucial question. Consider it. Fans will talk about any athlete that does something controversial. They will respond. That's just a part of being the center of attention. However, where do we draw the boundary between legitimate critique and racism? Whitlock is urging us to consider the situation in its entirety. How do you unpack the fact that people are creating AI images of me because of Caitlin Clark fans? He asks. How are you going to get there? How is that related to Caitlin Clark? Yes, that's a legitimate question. And this is no longer just about Reese. It has to do with the way we discuss race in sports. It has to do with how we handle difficult talks. Are we too eager to condemn racism in everything? Or are we spending so much time debating insignificant issues that we fail to see actual instances of racism? What's wild, you know? We're starting to doubt everything about this whole event. Our conversation has moved beyond basketball. We are discussing society, interpersonal relationships, and how we respond to disagreement. Whitlock's interpretation is causing a stir. He is advising us to use caution when applying the race card, because we risk missing the true problems if we utilize it excessively or inappropriately. Similar like crying in the dark, people grow weary of hearing you cry too much. The crucial question is this though, are we allowing trivial disagreements to cloud crucial discussions about racism? Whitlock is attempting to convey that. He is arguing that we must distinguish between acts of racism and regular criticism or personal animosity. Everything about this issue is like a mirror reflecting back to us how we handle difficult subjects. Are we prepared to start these discussions? Can we distinguish between social and personal issues? Here's where the true difficulty lies.